As her breath brushed against my ear, she whispered, "Not here. Sit in the guest section." A small fracture split through my chest like a hairline crack in glass. I stood there, rooted, staring at the woman I was supposed to marry, the woman who had once clung to my promises as if they were lifelines. She didn't look back. Instead, she turned toward Lucas, her ex-lover, with that rehearsed, weaponized smile and casually tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I recognized that. "Move." She always did it when she wanted to appear composed, graceful, untouched by emotion. "This seat suits you better," she purred to him, her tone dipped in silk and quiet cruelty. Lucas responded with a smirk that made my stomach turn. He slid into the seat beside her like it was already his place, as though I were some unfortunate extra in a drama they had choreographed behind closed doors. Her relatives chuckled among themselves, clearly in on the farce or too jaded to care. Mine sat stiffly in silence, caught between shame and disbelief, their gazes downcast or frozen in helpless confusion. I remained near the altar, bouquet still in hand, a pitiful offering meant for a ceremony that was never intended to be real. My fingers clenched until the stems of the flowers bit into my palms. But I didn't flinch. I adjusted my coat, lifted my chin, and took a slow breath that tasted of ash and clarity. "Go ahead," I said, my voice calm, slicing through the air like a blade disguised as kindness. They thought I would crumble, humiliated, and discarded. They thought I'd exit quietly, swallowed by my own shame. But they had misunderstood the man they tried to bury. I wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. I had met Ava 3 years earlier at a sun-drenched little cafe off 3rd Avenue. She dropped her phone, I picked it up, and the moment our eyes met, the world seemed to hush. What followed were lazy afternoons over coffee, late-night conversations that stretched toward morning, and impulsive road trips where every turn felt like discovery. She made me feel visible, wanted, needed, chosen. She'd curl against me, whispering through tears how others had lied to her, betrayed her, broken her trust. "You're not like them," she'd murmur, and I believed her. I loved her with the kind of foolish intensity that only the deeply hopeful possess. But 2 months before the wedding, cracks began to show. She came home late one night, lipstick smeared in a shade she never wore, a scent clinging to her that I didn't recognize. She said she'd been out with her cousin. Funny, her cousin had called earlier that evening, asking if Ava was with me. I didn't confront her. I observed. Her phone was always face down now. Messages appeared and disappeared with a precision too calculated to be innocent. Then came the reintroduction of Lucas, charming, affluent, and the same man who once shattered her by sleeping with her best friend. She had sworn that chapter was over, but I saw the glances, the shifts in her voice, the way her lies began to echo hollow dot, so I hired a private investigator. Not because I doubted what I felt, but because I needed truth carved in stone, not suspicion whispered in shadows. Within days, it arrived photos of intimate dinners, hotel invoices, audio clips of their shared laughter. The worst were the recordings, her voice clear and cruel. They weren't just having an affair. They were orchestrating a finale. The wedding, it turned out, was a stage. I was to be the unwitting fool, the sacrifice. She would dismiss me, he'd take my place. Our families would watch, shocked or amused. It was to be their twisted masterpiece, but I refused to play the fool in their theater. I dismantled the prenup, claiming it was for love, unity, trust. She smiled like she'd won the lottery. I sold off shared investments, moved funds into untouchable accounts, and transferred property into my sister's name. Quietly, Ira took control. I contacted the venue and made discreet adjustments. I replaced the officiant, hired a new videographer, and rewrote the ceremony script. Just one small segment, but a crucial one. So when she leaned in with that venom-laced, Whisper she didn't know the game had already changed. The ceremony began. Her confidence bloomed as Lucas settled beside her like a smug shadow. Their families laughed and gossiped, the perfect audience for their final act. Then, just before the vows, the officiant raised his hand. The groom has prepared a short video, his tribute to love and truth. The screen came to life. First, footage of Ava and Lucas, 2 weeks before the ceremony. Her voice, unmistakable. He actually thinks I care. More footage followed, grainy. Shots of hotel rooms, candlelit dinners, lips brushing and stolen kisses. And then their laughter, unkind, gleeful, orchestrating my heartbreak. Gasps rippled through the room. Her family's smugness melted into horror. Mine sat stunned, grief-stricken. Ava's face turned ghostly pale. Her mouth moved, but her voice was stuck behind her shame. Turn it off. She finally screamed, but the officiant stood firm. The groom controls the footage, he said quietly. It will continue, and it did right up to the final clip. Ava's voice, unmistakable once again. When he tries to sit beside me, I'll dismiss him. You'll take his place. He'll just stand there, looking pathetic. It'll be perfect. The screen cut to black. The silence in that room was absolute. The kind that drips like melted wax over everything and freezes people in place. I walked toward her slowly. She didn't move. Her hands trembled. Her mouth parted, eyes wide with fear, not regret. I told you to go ahead, I said, steady. Now it's my turn. I turned to Lucas, who tried to hold my gaze with defiance. You like taking what doesn't belong to you, I said. She was never yours, he shot back. This was always going to happen. I didn't respond. I reached into my jacket and pulled out an envelope. I handed it to Ava, annulment papers signed, sealed. Complete. No vows, no binding. Nothing left to unravel. Her breath caught in her throat. Then I turned to Lucas and handed him a second envelope. A formal lawsuit. He had trespassed. The venue, as of that morning, was under my name. He had set foot on private property. My lawyer would handle the rest. Your car, I added quietly, impounded. Title is in default. Then I turned to the crowd. You came for a wedding, I said, voice steady but cold. What you witnessed was truth. I paused, letting the weight of the moment land. To my family, thank you for your loyalty. To hers, you raised a deceiver. And Ava, I leaned in close enough for her to taste the echo of her own betrayal. You could have had everything, but you chose spectacle over sincerity. You tried to humiliate me, and now you're the one exposed. She stared at me, mouth agape, eyes glistening with fury and disbelief, no apology. Just panic. I turned and walked away alone. Behind me, the murmurs grew into uneasy whispers. The video played again. Months later, she tried to reach me through a mutual friend, said she'd made a mistake, that she missed me, that it wasn't supposed to end like this. I never answered. Lucas lost a major client once the footage leaked. Online, public scandal stains everything it touches. As for me, I sleep soundly now. There's a quiet kind of peace that comes from pulling the knife out of your back and placing it exactly where it belongs. Because revenge doesn't yell. It watches, it waits, and then it delivers justice with the cold, surgical precision of a blade.